All right, recap for the generation session on what was it, Saturday? So not last night, night before. The 6th of July. If you guys remember, I had the last place I was is I was leaving the like medical facility that we had taken up residence in during this apocalyptic event, and we were getting ready. This Corporal Liam and I to head out to presumably retrieve these notes that Dr. Arminas had requested. Specifically, people who had like the shared lineage that she does, like the people that we had tracked and traced that likely have like the Quare lineage, where it has a more likely chance to show up within their bloodline. And that was something that the people of the Dark, or the government of the Darklands, was tracking. We I got out the door and it kind of struck me, and this is something I realized like between sessions was they confiscated a lot of our notes, and it might be that they're not even there. So it's like making that trip was kind of a fool's errand because we don't know where we would have taken them. It'd basically be a big unnecessary risk because they did take most of the like I think the notes and everything like that. It's a good chance they're taken someplace else. So that information might be just not there. But I gotta wait for Lyria to like clarify that because she would know better than I would as far as like organizing the research papers. So with that in mind, I turned around. I said like, listen, like this was a mistake. Like, sorry for wasting your time, kind of thing. And he was understanding. Like, and he's like, maybe you need to get some sleep, doc. I was like, yeah, because I did have like interrupted sleep. I did not get enough. So I went back and I did get some sleep, and I woke up being thrown. It felt like someone had launched me, and then whenever I hit, I like felt like I hit like this like fleshy body, or many fleshy bodies. And when I kind of came to, I realized I was in this giant pit. It looked like a like a waste treatment facility kind of thing, and they were people were throwing all these bodies into this pit, and like some were healthy, some were unconscious, and it looked like what they were doing was like a protocol for when you've got like an infectious disease like this. It's like you're trying to like stop the spread of it. Like you're just anything you can do to prevent it spreading further. Because like I said, it's like a 70-30 thing where like some people just aren't affected by it. A very small portion aren't affected by it. About 20 to 30% are expected to survive, and 70% are expected to die. So like there are still people who are up and around moving. Oh, the last thing I did before going to sleep was I had kind of gotten this habit of offering a prayer to like Maisha, as far as things go. Given my knowledge purchase of it, I was like, yeah, you know what? It can't hurt. Like it's one of those ones where it's not necessarily time wasted. It is now that we know like that there's a bigger universe out there and that there are like these creatures or beings that are greater than us, like the idea of this like healing goddess type entity isn't the most far-fetched thing out there. So it's like, you know what, can't hurt. One of those ones where like you cover as many bases as you can. Anyway, I say that is because I see a image of who I perceive Maisha to be at the center of this, and she looks like very troubled and very sad by the amount of like new Itari suffering that's occurring here, and I don't know like if this is a vision, if it's prophetic, if it's like a subconscious thing of Cass realizing that, and there was a mistake that I made was when we got the emergency broadcast. I think like one of the people we sent out was to get the emergency broadcast system up and running, because I'm unfamiliar with the protocols down here. I didn't think through what they might do in a infectious situation like that, and like the burn pit could be one of those things. So I wasn't entirely sure if this was like a prophetic vision, if this is something that was happening or was going to happen, or if it was like, oh shoot, like we need to make sure that people know that this isn't infectious. So I had woken up with that in mind, where it's like I was, part of me was kind of hopeful that it was like I guess like part of me as like an outside the game thing was kind of hopeful it was a vision, but we'll see how it plays out. So I go out the door, and then my assistant guy is there, and he was, I think, like taking a nap. And I was like, we got to get to the emergency broadcast thing, and the broadcast system, and I was like, and I need to get to. I was like, is there any waste treatment facilities around here? He's like, yeah, well, there's multiple. And I was like, okay, let me think back. So I think back into the thing, and I'm looking for symbols because a lot of these buildings have different symbols. Like there's the different groups, like the chisel and stone. There's the seed to stars, and this one had like two hands. What was it? Two hands together praying, and they're called the hands of clay. And it's like they're basically different houses. Houses is a bad way to look at it. They're different groups. I almost liken it as like an intellectual versus an economic versus like an agricultural like group, like something more along those lines. But they each have different ideals, and they kind of work together to keep society running, but also like they oversee certain things in a more specialized fashion. Anyway, I did manage to remember the symbol for my dream, and it was the hands of clay. And he says, "Well, you're in luck. That is the closest one to where we are here. Perfect." I was like, I need someone to take me there. I need you to get someone to get to the emergency broadcast and report our findings that we have cured the disease on an individual level, and that we are looking to try to find a widespread cure for it. It's not infectious. There's no infection vectors, and it's being transmitted through the underground water supply. So, like, if for some reason someone hasn't drank from water from that, like, I don't know how. Excuse me. Sorry. How their systems are down here, like if they've been living off bottled water or something like that, or just living off beer, that maybe they could avoid getting further infections if they haven't yet. But he's charged with delivering that message. He directs me to the front of the house. I get down there, and Dr. Arminas is leading things up in the lobby. He's one of the people I healed, as far as the doctors, who's been kind of guiding me a little bit. They mentioned they're low on antibiotics. That's something that like, I don't know. Like if I come across it, sure. But it's like I think he was more talking with one of the nurses. It wasn't like he was like asking me to do it. And he manages to get three people to help me out. Liam is there again, Corporal Liam, Corporal Lonnie, and Private Jin. And I explained to them what we're doing. That we're going to swing by the waste treatment facility first to basically avoid a humanitarian crisis. I don't let on to them that it came to me in a dream, because this is still very much a rationalized society. I don't think we're big on religion or anything like that, and definitely not the supernatural. But even though like I have very like supernatural things going on around me right now. So like there's a bit of a challenge of not bogging down the conversations of, well, how do you know this, or what's going on there, like having to basically deflect while not losing credibility as there's a reason why we're doing this. So I think I basically said like we need to make sure that that there isn't a humanitarian crisis going on there, as far as like containment protocols go. I was like, and I think it's like it'll be on our way to where we need to go. So they kind of agree to it, and they take me there. We get to like basically we go down some hallways. We make the trek there and manage to go unnoticed. We go a little bit of an indirect route because there is some chaos going on here and there, and we're generally looking to avoid confrontation. And we get there, and I think Corporal Lonnie is kind of like the one in charge, and she's like, well, what's the plan? And I said, well, I think we kind of see or spot that this is what's going on, that there is this like giant, I keep calling it a burn pit. It looks like it was like a waste disposal area, but there's this giant cannon looking device, and it was a little unclear as to what exactly it did. If it was like a big incinerator, if it was some kind of big grinder, I don't know. I didn't. I likened it more to like a burn, like an incinerator type device, but they were throwing people down there. And worse yet, as people were trying to climb out, like the healthy people, they're executing them. Like they're just like up there with guns and bang, you'll hear like a bang, you'll see like a corpse fall back into the pit. So she's like, "What's the plan?" And I was like, "I'm gonna go out there and talk to him." And she's like, "Oh wait, that's the plan?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm gonna go out there and uh, try to stop them from killing anyone else and also letting them out of the pit. So okay, so she, everyone goes out with their hands. Oh, this is the I almost missed something else. I said, okay, there. I was like, before we go, hold on a second. And I open Din Fui and I go in and I go get my Sunrise Spear. Because, like, that's, like, if I need to, like, armor up or anything like that, I can do that. I haven't done it yet, but, like, it's, like, at least, if stuff hits the fan, I can go do that. And we'll see what happens whenever Cass dons that armor. No, it's still unknown. They are the problem I mentioned earlier about like not understanding this kind of stuff is they're flabbergasted by the basically dimensional portal that opens up. It allows me to step in and step back out and retrieve something. And they're like, "You have that level of technology on like Dewey proper," and I was like, "It's highly experimental." I was like, if it's any consolation, like my jaw looked the same as yours whenever I was first introduced to the Adusian alcoves, which are their devices that can upload data directly into the brain. It's not quite. I don't think it's quite like the Matrix when it comes to like learning. It's not like you can plug into it and learn kung fu. It's more like as opposed to like going through like archives and archives of data, you can have it like directly uploaded to you. But you would still need to like decipher it, and you would still need to understand it. Like it's not like it teaches you it; it's just kind of providing the information there. Still a very unique process. So we managed to get past that little hiccup, and I said it's been an ongoing thing as Cass has kind of come up from his recent purchases, and then also like his kind of, I don't want to say explosion, but like his increase in like capabilities and things like that. So we go out and the guys train guns on us and say, like just move along. We're doing what needs to be done here. And I say, listen, like the you don't need to do this. This isn't, the disease isn't infectious like you think it is. And he's like, "Lieutenant, we got another one." And apparently I wasn't the first person to try to say this to them. And this guy comes over and introduces himself as Lieutenant Aiden. And he explains like this is the protocol. Like this isn't something like I'm taking joy in doing. It's not what I want to do. And as he's talking, like some people were getting executed for like trying to climb out. And so I kind of briefly explained my point. I said, okay, I was like, we're from this medical facility and we've cured the disease, but we're working on a widespread cure. We've cured it on an individual level. And this is one of the ones where I'm missing some of my big points is the mission is like cure a disease that's killed 10,000 people. And it's not the way I pictured it as it's like if you cure cancer in somebody, you would get the achievement. The idea is you need to eradicate the disease less so than like actually cured on an individual level. So like that's where if we can figure out a way to like to do the curing process that I've done on a small scale on a larger scale, excuse me, then I'll get like another good chunk of points. But yeah, I explained that we've cured it and that we're working on a widespread cure to hopefully avert this crisis. And he said, well, he's like that's all well and good. He's like, but if that's the case, we'll hear it on the emergency broadcast system. Deep sigh. That's what we sent someone else to kind of do. And I said, well, listen, can I talk? Can I at least address the people in there and stop them from trying to escape in the meantime? He said, yeah, that'd be for the better. So I was like, great. So I got up there and I kind of like screamed out in the pit, like, listen, I was like, help is on the way. Don't struggle. We're going to get you out of there briefly. There's going to be a message coming through and we'll get everyone. we'll get everyone to safety. And it's like kind of like this is where I got another decent chunk of points. Or like basically promising them that we're gonna get them out of there and we're gonna save them and then do it within 24 hours. Spoiler alert: we do save them. How we do so is a lot more interesting because as I'm announcing this, I look down in the pit and you see like this writhing mass of people. Like some are like dead, some have been shot dead, some are conscious, some are unconscious. You know, they're struggling and they're like multiple layers deep at this point. So there's almost certainly some people that are getting smothered, probably going to suffocate. It's just like it's a terrible sight. And like I said, like I think it's like a giant incineration pit. And I see this again image of Maisha down there, and I'm like, that's where I was like, oh shoot, like am I seeing things? Like, is this hallucination? Have I snapped? Or is it like, did I actually reach her through like all my works and prayers that I've done in her name? I was like, screw it, DM. I climbed down to the pit, and I'm like trying to reassure people, like, yeah, like just like don't climb up, don't try to escape, don't get out. I was like, we're gonna get you out of here. And I get down there, and the DM explains that it's gonna be very difficult to reach her, where she's kind of like suspended over the middle of it, just kind of like hovering there, as like people like that do. And I was like, well, I got to climb across and try to reach her because I'm thinking that this might be like a connection kind of thing where I have asked for her help, and I'm familiar with the process because Cass has purchased the knowledge, but I'm not familiar with the exact details of it. So I head out to try to help her, and this is where I explain to the DM like the last bit of my speculation as to like I was like it's like one of those ones where everything up until this point, like, you know, it might Cass might be like, you know, 75% sure now, 85% now, 90%. Like this is the last thing where it's like, oh, he's 100% sure, is when he steps out onto the to try to like step across the bodies, he steps onto an invisible platform, and the platform like just leads right to her. So I get to go up, and she extends her hand and I take it. And there's this like very serene moment of Cass sees where he is now, and then it kind of like swoops back to on the planet to where his house is, his home, and then it like zooms out to like his block, and then his city, and then his country, and then the planet, and then the like, you know, kind of surrounding area, and then the system, and then from the system it's showing like parts of the galaxy that are zooming out, and then it's like it's so much bigger, and it's like getting this view of like how small we are inside of the universe, pulling out further and further to where you see like multiple galaxies and nebulas, and just like just this grand picture. And she says to me, this is the path you are heading on. I can help you, but it will mean you're connected to all of this. The good you can accomplish is immeasurable, but the forces that will stand against you are like equally so. You can stay in your corner, or you can touch the beyond. Which I was like, yeah, it's a very hot line. Like, props to the DM, like, to go out there and touch the beyond. Let's do it. And as a, I don't, like I said, Cass didn't like, he didn't, I want to say, with as little hesitation as possible, I said, I didn't want, like, I want to help these people, and I was like, I'll help everyone that I can, kind of thing. Like, just like, it's like this, it's a core part of who Cass is as a character. You know, it's like the being up against things that are bigger than you can realize or imagine is going to be part of it. Like, he's already at that point. Like, he's dealing with a planet-wide plague that's going to wipe out 70% of his people. And on the back of that, he learns about that there was a covenant that was broken between the children of New Genesis and his people that it might lead to their extermination outright, because they broke that pact and started to explore the galactic community again, even though they were supposed to be quarantined from it. So it's like we're already on that doorstep, and that's where I was like, it was a very easy decision for me as a player, as like someone who was actually looking forward to shying away for a bit, and I did get to shy away. Like I said, I did kind of get to play, I think, out a very insular storyline from like the Greater Generations universe, because I think that was kind of my concern was after Zaratul's thing, and then like Omen's follow up is kind of like picking up where Zeratul left off to an extent. I was like, I'd like a separation from that. So I did get my separation from all of that nonsense. Who knows, that stuff might have passed by now. But yeah, like now we're kind of already at the point where RA, which is the new Itari planet, is past that point of staying insular. So it was an easy decision as a player, and as a character, it also made a lot of sense. So I said, like, you know, I'm kind of, I'm with you. I'm with you on this. Like, I'll I'll go to the beyond and help people beyond my world, kind of thing, and I feel this warm, comforting rain start to come down on me, and I kind of regain semi-consciousness. I was never like completely out cold, but I just realized I'm like laying down now, and like my spear is beside me, but I'm still on this invisible platform. And the people around me, like instead of like moans of pain and anguish and suffering, like there's like sighs of relief and things like that. And I climb to my feet, and I see like this miraculous rain because we're like hundreds of feet underground at this point. Like it's like there's no like rain cloud above us that could like, and no open sky. It's just like, and then this is something I know from reading the description, like it works like this, but it's still like a very miraculous event to see like this soft soothing rain, and it's like people's wounds are being healed and they're being revitalized and they're being like soothed and comforted, and almost like some people are like, I don't want to say euphoric. I think there is like a sense of euphoria that comes with it, but it's just like it's like putting the terrible suffering past you for the time. And I climb back out, and I approach the lieutenant, and I'd say it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's I say to him, I was like, I know this wasn't easy, and I know this isn't something that you wanted to do. I was like, there's protocols, and you're looking to help. You're looking to help people. You're looking to save people. I was like, but it's gonna be okay. And then just then, in like a very, it's one of those ones. It worked out this way, and it worked perfect. Was the emergency response speakers come on, and they announce the message that the disease isn't contagious like they thought, and that the protocol that they're doing doesn't need to be carried out. And he's kind of like, well, and so I guess like there is that, he has that, there's a bit more of a conversation between the two of us where he doesn't understand what's going on because it's miraculous to him. And he's like, well, what is that? What is it? Who? I was like, there's someone greater out there who is helping us. And he's like, who? And I was like, her name's Maisha. And it's like, for me, it's like it's an affirmation of I've been doing works in her name kind of thing. And it's also like an affirmation of she's the one that's helping us. But I quickly realized it's like that only opens up more questions than answers. Wait, who's she? What was going on? And it's like the idea is like there is a universe out there beyond us, and I think our suffering has gone noticed. So we'll see if we can see if that will help us out. He takes his leave with the guards, and I guess they have other responsibilities to go to. I kind of thought they would be like staying around to maybe help some people out. So then I start calling the people out, and I get our people. Liam and Jin specifically to start helping people out, like up the ladders and stuff like that. And it seems like people who were unconscious or who might have been like hurt are able to climb out on their own. So like the healing effects are pretty impressive for this ability. A little bit more I learned about her from the Maisha's warden thing was pretty everything. She seems like she's a direct subordinate of the goddess of life in the mortal realm. So like the goddess of life is one of the big 12s. Maisha is like a direct subordinate of one of the big 12. She's not one of the big 12, but she's like right under them. And I get Corporal Lonnie and I are trying to like get people who were previously infected by this to like examine them. And I get through like 3 and 6 and like a dozen and then like 30, and what I'm looking for is there any trace of the disease? And it seems like whatever this healing rain did, because that was my original premises, based on what the healing rain suggests, it might not actually cure this quarry disease, but it seems like it does. So that's a very relieving thing. This is the other big thing where I could get a lot of points, but I haven't hit that point yet. Is depending on the area of this rain, I could heal 10,000 people back from like the Brink of Death in a day. But like, I don't know the area of it. That's why I submitted to the DM. It's like we're like 25 points. So it's like between that and the other big one that I could get, which is basically one and the same of this, is like, it would be like, that's a lot of points right there. But like I said, I don't know the extent or how far the rain has reached or how far it will reach or if I can move it around, because there is an ability where I can move the rain around whenever I master it. However, I don't know if because Maisha is here in some point, because I did get the points for touching. There's like a Sistine Chapel achievement where you basically have touched the hand of a god, and I applied for it and I got it. So like in some way, Maisha is here, so she might be able to see the amount of suffering that's going on and extend the rain, because there's two things on the Life's Embrace Mastery: extended range. You can do the over a larger area, and then you can move the healing area as well once per use. So yeah, like I could potentially hit that thing, but I don't know, just because like that number of people I don't have line of sight to. So it's more like the DM would have to tell me if it happened off screen. Um, yeah, so we were getting the people out, and I explained to Corporal Lonnie that we need to figure out the range of this healing area, because like this prevented like a humanitarian catastrophe, but it doesn't address the larger one at play, which is the planet-wide um, blight that is affecting us. So we need to get like some more data on this. And as I was getting ready to leave, I felt like that I was being watched. So the DM said two things, and one I might have messed up on. It was like one of the last things we did was, one, that I was being watched, and two, that I felt like I was there but also not there. I don't know exactly what that was, like if it was like, but the big thing I got away from this was that it felt like my actions were being watched. So it's like, because I didn't purchase Life's Embrace, like, and because I earned it in a way, I think she's more, there's like a more curiosity as to like how I handle myself. And then now that I've got like the what is it? You can ways to lose her favor and things that you need to do to maintain her favor. I think she is like at least watching me for the time being to see what's going on, and to which I was like, good, please watch me. Like literally everything I think I've done since I've been in game has been relatively selfless, and putting others before myself, as far as my actions go, despite Cass being like a bit of a cocky younger person when it comes to his age and expertise. Like I think like his time in the Darklands has kind of shown that that isn't exactly how he is at the whenever the chips are down. So I think like her watching me is probably for the better, and I think I had this like in kind of internal thought of Corporal Lonnie asked me what had happened, and I started to explain, and I basically said, there is someone who is greater than us that's acting through me right now to help us. And it's like it's one of those ones that opens up more questions, but it's like, listen, I was like, I'm here, and I'm like, I was like, and I'm doing what I can to help. So I was like, let's just go with that, and I was like, and if we beat this, then we'll celebrate later, and I'll tell you all, like, and like, it was kind of that thing of internally and externally is, and like, it's kind of, I guess it's like me to her, like me to Maisha, is kind of like, let me show you the kind of person I am, in that I'm here to do the work rather than celebrate a name. Like I will celebrate the name after the work is done, kind of thing. Because it's like at this point, like if I thought that explaining Maisha to her to Corporal Lonnie here would make things better, I would do it. But I feel like it's just going to slow down from the overall progress of saving more people. So like at the end of the day, listen, I'm all about giving you your due for what you've done and then some, because like Cass is like eternally grateful that this kind of like prayer in a way was answered. Um, but like at the same time, it's like he still has to maintain that uh, I'll say colder professionalism when it comes to the crisis at hand. Um, but like I said, he seemed like he felt like he was pretty comfortable with the idea that she was watching him, and it's more like I'm gonna show you who I am. I'm not gonna be a better version of myself. I'm gonna be myself. At the end of the day, and hopefully that what you see is someone who you find worthy to be your warden. Um, and that was where I was pretty much put on pause. I did later, I think the next day or so, I got Maisha's Warden, the thing that comes with it, like the pack that I've got to make, the things I got to do. I'll get into this later, but like that was just the recap for the session. They got some cool gear, some cool looking things. They got like some lotuses, which makes me wonder about like I know like Kareem made the white lotus, but it's like wonder why the black lotus strains, but. Um, Robes of vibrant green and gold symbolize life and healing. These garments were embroidered with intricate patterns of blooming lotuses. And then they have like the little lotus symbol in their hand or a pendant, like almost like a cleric style thing. But like I guess like as there's fewer wardens now, they a lot of time will carry the mark rather than the pendant, which is cool. I like it. I dig it. Cass will be having a little like glowing tattoo. You know how cool those are in real world. But that was my session, and that was the recap.